Perseverance. That's the difference between successful entrepreneurs and the others. If you just work for money, you will never make it. But if you love what you do, success will be yours. Dear viewers, I hope you're doing well. Today, we're having with us a beautiful mind, a great talent, Miss Shiraz Bensaman. Welcome to Channel 7.
Hi, Yassine. Thank you so much for having me today.
The pleasure is mine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
That's great. So, tell us more about you. The audience wants to discover you.
Ooh, where do we start?
From the beginning.
Not too far long.
Not too far.
So I'm an Algerian, but I consider myself as a citizen of the world.
Great.
That's what I like to call myself because I just love traveling. I love discovering and learning. I'm a serial entrepreneur, which I never thought I would be. I have a master in European Affairs and International Business that I got from the University of Strasbourg, UM Strasbourg, and Georgetown University. And I got the chance of working and living in 12 different countries, traveled in 52 countries. I just love learning, and I just love sharing my experience with my clients, with people, and yeah, I think that summarizes it for now.
So you're a serial entrepreneur, and you never thought you would be a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
So tell us more about this beautiful journey.
Actually, so when I was in business school, you know, you have to choose your own major, right? And we did have one that was entrepreneurship. And I always said, I am not crazy to become an entrepreneur. Fast forward 12 years later, or a bit more, I actually created 2 companies. And I think that when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's not always a choice, it just comes with it. So after my master, I worked for a company called Focus Reports, and I was doing country reports on healthcare or oil and gas, and every 4 to 7 months I was stationed in a different country. So this is how I got to go to Brazil, South Africa, China, Canada, you name it. And actually my last station was in Algeria, and I was very happy because I grew up in Algeria, but I wanted to learn how to work because it's different when you are from a country when you study and working. And after that, because of all the C executives that we would meet around the world, I didn't see myself working for them, even though they were offering me jobs, but I could see that I had an added value. I wanted to support them in their growth strategy, their
Collaborate with them.
Yes, I'm all about collaboration. So actually that's how I ended up starting the company, and then sometimes it's just about frustration when I see something that I feel there is a need. And I created my company. So my first company, I created it now almost 8 years ago.
Tell us about these 2 companies.
So the first one is called Pitch World Fast. The logo is a phoenix, and it goes with what you were saying at the beginning about perseverance. And because you know how the phoenix comes back from his ashes.
Ashes, yes.
And Pitch World Fast is a business development and project management consulting company. So pretty much what we do is we help individuals, companies, authorities get access to the right resource so that they can grow. So it can take the form of trainings, it can take the form of trade missions, projects, especially abroad, because I speak 4 languages and told you I traveled and work in different countries. So this is pretty much what we do. And the second company that is a little bit the baby of Pitch World Fast, because I told you we do trainings and I was focused a lot on sales. So we ended up doing some coaching. So I launched Coach Tribe, which is a platform for online coaching. But you see, it's still the same thing because
coaching in which field or fields?
Everything, because I'm not the only coach. I always say, because if you're an expert in everything, you're an expert in nothing.
Yes.
So it's a platform, it's a safe and secure environment for people so that they can find coaches in business, lifestyle, even love coaches. I have soul coaches, anything. And I want it to be diverse. So we have more than 30 coaches from that can coach in 17 different languages. So it's called Coach Tribe. And so the idea is we, again, put you in contact or get you access to the right coach.
In 17 languages, success can only be assured.
Yes. And again, we tap into people's expertise, people's strength. So this is like my coaches, the community we created, they are the one that actually make it work. So those are the 2 companies that I have.
And you're also Algeria Laureate for Women in Africa program 2021.
Yes, I am.
Tell us about this program.
So you see, I will always encourage anyone to really build their own network and really push themselves. So in 2020, I was introduced to the program Women in Africa, which is a program that really push to create more network for women and provide them with network coaching so that they can grow their businesses. And it is for African women, even from the diaspora. So even if you're not living or your business is not in the continent,
but you're from an African country.
Yes. So you can have access to it. So I pitched Coach Tribe, so we got selected. So what they did with my cohort is that there was like 440 finalists out of the 54 countries, and then one laureate for each country. And I was lucky enough to be the one selected for Algeria. So very proud, because I like to put my country a little bit more on the international scene and show that as Algerian, we have a lot actually to offer. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of things to do. And you know, in May, I was in Botswana for Beyond Prosperity Conference. I was actually presenting what we do in Africa, and I brought the Algerian delegation, and a lot of people were telling us how they don't know. I was like, you're the first Algerian that I ever meet. So I think it's very important. And through the Women in Africa program, so we got to learn a bit more how to pitch to investors, so you see, to raise money. And also I got to meet amazing women around the continent with whom we can also collaborate. So, yeah.
And your collaboration with individuals, companies, and public authorities help them get access to the right resources.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how do you help them get access to the resources?
So I think the first thing is, and that's how my business really work, is that I try to understand what is their need first. So for some companies, we have a client, for example, even an Algerian client, their need is about exporting. They want to export their products. So what we do is trying to figure out which market would be the best for them and who could be their best partner. And we have, for example, an Algerian
distribution.
For distribution, for registration, for marketing, everything. And what we do is really facilitating and doing the groundwork. So I am not a theory person. I'm a very on-the-ground person. So you would see me actually going to, so for an Algerian client, for example, they are exporting to Uruguay. You see? It's like, this is far. This is not close to it's not even in Europe, it's really in South America.
Not the same country, not the same
continent, nothing.
Not the same culture.
Not at all. But there is an opportunity, there is the language, so I speak Spanish, so that helped out. But you see, it's like we found the right partner and then we connected them. So
Here
that's
comes
what we
the
do.
importance of speaking many languages.
Yes, and also being flexible, because you have to adapt to cultures, you have to adapt to what people need, and this is what I love about the job that I created at the end of the day. When it comes to authorities, the way we do that is more about, so we focus on two main pillars, economy and health.
Yes.
So we started actually doing it in Algeria with the Ministry of Health, and that was taking the form of roundtable where we were benchmarking good practices so that they can see how to adapt it to the markets so that we can improve the healthcare system in Algeria. And from there we pushed it, and now it's on an African level. So it's always about listening what people need and trying to see what would be the best project or where is the best way of implementing it so that you can really give them access to those resources.
There is always a result to reach.
Yes, always.
Yes.
Always.
Never stop.
No.
You worked and collaborated with the World Bank.
Yes. So there is a lot of international institutions that we got to work with, especially with Petrol Fast. So whether the World Bank, the African Development Bank, even UNIDO, UNECA, all these institutions. And the way we collaborate is that they take part into a platform that we have created that take the forms of African webinars. These African webinars is actually now a platform for exchange of good practices, peer-to-peer review on an African level, because as I'm sure you're aware, we're trying to put on the AFCFTA, which is the African Continental Trade area. And I always like to say, how do you want to actually make business or have it really, to have even an agreement or working together when you don't know what your neighbor does? So this is why we created that platform. And because, as I mentioned, I am not an expert in everything and I'm all about collaboration, I bring in those people, the people from the World Bank, the people from the African Development, from AOD and APAD, so that they can share with us what they do and they can share with us their advice and their expertise so that we can provide at the end of the day to the authorities, to the companies, what they need so that they can actually grow and improve the ecosystem, improve anything that they would like to.
And your recent article on the Africa Free Trade area has been retweeted by the World Bank.
I know, that's one of my proudest moments.
That's something.
I know. It was, you know, it's like those things where you think that your voice doesn't matter, but your voice do matter. Like, you really have to put it out there. We all have something that we can learn from each other. This is why I always like say, it's not because I have this experience that I will never learn from anyone. You always have to show respect and listen, because there's something that someone will always teach you because of their experience. And see, I'm not really a writer, but I wanted to share my experience of what I think could work for the AFCFTA, what Africa needs, and the World Bank retweeted it. So here you go.
And you were also featured on Good Morning Zimbabwe, Thrive Global, Authority Magazine, Profit Talk podcasts. It's like you're the superstar of managing and coaching.
I don't think I am, but you know, when I started my business, I actually wouldn't talk. I wouldn't accept to talk on any show. If you would have invited me 7 years ago, I would have said no. Because I am the kind of person that wants to actually act, do the things, and make sure that it works, and prove myself by my work, and not saying that I am doing this, and actually doing nothing. And I have to say, sometimes, while this is great for marketing, and some people are very good at marketing and branding themselves, I like to see the actual project. I want to see the operation. I want to see real results, like you were saying, right?
It's all about real results.
It is about that, because you want to build on that. You want to continue on it. And Good Morning Zimbabwe was an opportunity because I was in Zimbabwe. It was in September, actually, this year. And I was there to see what are the opportunities between, like, that happened to be in Zimbabwe. I met with our ambassador, the Algerian ambassador. I met with some institution. And you see, it goes back to what I keep on saying, is like, building a network, creating the opportunities, trying to see how you can work, and all the other even features. Some of them was built through my network. So I was like my, you know, my secret sauce that is not that secret. It's all about network. And at the end of the day, nowadays, I will encourage anyone to share their voice, and you never know where that could lead you.
And nowadays, the Algerian ecosystem of startups is moving forward.
Yeah. It is. I mean, we do have a minister that is quite active. Yes. I saw recently that Algeria was ranked #1 in activities of entrepreneurship in 2022, because we had a lot of activities. I have to say, though, it's great that we had a lot of activities. It's great that we talk a lot about it. Now I really hope that the startups get everything that they need so that they can see, again, go back to action, yes, and produce some results. But we do have amazing projects here.
Production phase.
Yes. I mean, you do have good projects that are put by Algerians. You have Africa by IncubeMe, where you see, yes, actual results.
Some of them were guests in this talk show.
There you go.
For example, Nrecycli.
Yes.
Many others. And we really have great talents. The pure talents are available in Algeria.
It's true.
And ideas and really amazing projects, let's say revolutionary projects.
And I think you see that platforms like you have, the shows like you have, or even others, are a great platform to showcase what does exist.
Yes.
So that, because I mean, we're also part of a network on women, and we're saying that the reason why also we have to speak is to showcase that there is a possibility, that it is possible, that there is a journey, that people maybe might recognize themselves in people who are speaking, who are sharing their experience, and maybe get inspired and get this little courage of whether going entrepreneurship or going in fields that they think might be only for men or only for women or things like this, so that they can really just give it a try. So, yeah.
There are also many IT startups, mm-hmm, trying to find solutions. For example, now they're making their own hardware.
Yeah.
They're trying to avoid importation.
I think to some extent, there's always...
It will lower the cost.
It will. And I think in any crisis, there's always opportunities in disguise. It's just up to anyone to find what are the opportunities. And there's, I think it's Winston Churchill, if I'm not mistaken, that always said, like, don't let any crisis go to waste.
Yes.
Because there's so much to get from it. And although I know in Algeria we do have a lot of challenges, and we do have sometimes some regulations that might seem as if they're not protecting, not helping. But at the end of the day, because there are those regulations, this gives an opportunity for Algerian companies to really strive from it. If you look at the pharmaceutical sector, we have, if it wasn't for the protectionism that the country has done, for example, making sure that if we have local producers that can meet the needs of the population, then you wouldn't have the local production of pharmaceuticals, because then you would still import like other African markets. If you look at Benin or Côte d'Ivoire, 90% of their pharmaceutical is imported. So I think, well, we love to complain, that is human nature. Sometimes those things, instead of just complaining, let's see what can we do, what solutions can we bring that actually take it as an opportunity and get it to succeed. Look at Yassir. Same thing. We didn't have Uber, we didn't have anything. Yes. They took an opportunity, and look at how now they are really a little bit of representation of what an Algerian startup can do, not only in the country, but internationally.
Exactly. And recently, the Algerian authorities are giving more importance to the English language, so we can be more connected to the English-speaking world.
Yeah.
And learn from them. For example, lately the Algerian government sent people to India to discover the Indian startups ecosystem, and that was really amazing. They did comparison between Algeria and India. We have some advantages, they have some advantages, so maybe we will try to combine both advantages.
Of course, I think we have so much to learn from so many countries, from so many cultures. This is what I would say, like it's all about benchmarking good practices, and at the end of the day, taking what could fit in our culture, what could fit in our country, and adapt it. Yes. And I think it is a good thing that we're trying to push more and more English, but I want to say that we shouldn't lose French, because it is an added value as well. So a strength is to have as many...
We shouldn't lose any language.
No,
we should...
Arabic. I mean, my mom speaks Qbail. I don't. And I'm like, I wish I could at least understand it. And I think it is a pity, because it is part of our heritage, it is part of our culture, it is part of who we are. And the more languages you speak, the better it is. But I don't think that it should be, kind of a fight like English is better than French or better than Arabic or whatever. No, no, no. Add it to what you have. Yeah. Add it as it's a real wealth.
English could be better for the scientific research.
Yes, because everything has to be published in English.
Published in English. All the discoveries are made in English, even in the non-speaking English countries.
Yeah.
But it will really link the countries between them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at the African continent, there is both French and English, and it's divided. But if you speak both, whenever I do my webinars, we do it in both languages. And I always like speaking both those languages. And I'm like, I wish one day I won't even have to translate, so that at least, even if you don't speak it, understand it. That is, if we can at least understand each other, I'm completely fine.
Great.
And I think just by that, again, we're learning, we work together, we cooperate. And I'm always going to be repeating. I'm like such a parrot on that.
And according to you, how can we improve our national startups ecosystem?
I think, first of all, there was for me...
You traveled in many countries, you lived in different countries. According to you, how can we reach this international level? By taking time.
Of course. I think first, going too fast doesn't always make sense.
Yes.
There are some things where you need to have to go fast, but there's not. The first thing I would say is, first you have to make sure that you understand, again, what a startup means. I think initially, which I think now is much better, but initially there was a misunderstanding about what a startup is, and a lot of startups were those who were doing, web development or anything that was related to the internet, and you're like, this is not a startup. But I think as long as you educate people about what a startup can do, and whenever there's somebody that comes with a good idea, you support them, that first is really helpful. And I think the fact that we have a Ministry of Startup shows this initiative, and it shows that there's a listening. But then we're talking about ecosystem. So I think you really need to have the entire value chain to some extent represented in the country, so that you can have, you have the regulation with your authorities, that is good. You do have the financing with ASF.
And tax exoneration, it's helpful.
Exactly, you have that. But you also need to make sure that your startup are connected to other startup networks, not only in Africa, but around the world, so that when they think about their solution, some can be very much catered to the Algerian market, but some can actually be catered to international markets. And I think that's it. We need to make sure that the standards also by which we work, even, I'm sorry to say, all the software that we use, we have to make sure that they are actually abiding by international standards so that we don't come with a problem at some point of patent.
Yes.
But I think that's it. It's like make sure that everyone is connected and that they know what are the opportunities, because sometimes Algeria do have solutions for other countries, but we're not aware of the problematics. The same way other countries might have the solution for our country. We have
to adapt the solution to our own problems.
And understand as well that startups are sometimes borderless. They are borderless. And please do help with the online payment, because that's going to help so much some startups. But yeah.
And we can start from the local level and reach the African level.
Yeah.
There is so many potential. You collaborated with the African Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce.
The Pan-African Chamber of Commerce. And according to you, how can we first reach an African level?
I think first off, the very easy one is...
become #1 in Africa.
Well, I think we don't always have to be the #1. That's my thing. I don't believe we have to be #1 in everything.
Yes.
But specialize, like, okay, this is really our added value. This is where we will be #1. We cannot be, again, #1 in everything, and everyone have their own strength. So it's better actually to complementarize than actually be like, oh, I want to be #1 on everything. The first thing that I would say, and I always say the same thing, dare to contact the people, dare to try a project, try a product, just dare, take action. Don't only talk about it. Do it. Yes, please. It's like, I'm done with the talking, just actually do it. The second thing is learn about the other markets. Be aware, be open to learning, be open to not knowing everything, and don't impose yourself. Don't impose what you think works here in other markets. And I think as long as you don't come by thinking that we know better, but that we are here to collaborate, because there might be opportunities of collaboration between Algerian project holders, not even like startups. So I think as long as you have that, we can definitely tap into the opportunities in Africa, but it comes with taking action and learning about what Africa needs.
And you're working hard to give women a chance in the entrepreneurship world. Mm-hmm. According to you, how can our Algerian women be really, really successful as entrepreneurs?
I think for that, first of all, it's realizing that we do have a lot of successful women.
We do.
And these women have a responsibility. And I say it from the bottom of my heart, because I never wanted, and I said I never wanted to speak before, but I now see it.
We have a great number of Algerian women engineers.
We do. I mean, I think these women have a responsibility of showing up, literally, showing that it's possible, and this is what they do, so that they can inspire other women to do. So I think that is the first thing. The other one, and I'm sorry if I do hurt some women, sometimes women are the worst enemy of women. But instead of trying to kill each other and be like, or being jealous or something, let's collaborate, let's help each other. Whenever we see an opportunity, let's talk, collaborate, let's be the first women to talk about some other women and be like, oh, there's an opportunity that actually come to you. We have like the Ain, and we don't want to talk about what we do, which I fully understand. And we do have sometimes, depending on the family or the environment that you have, you might not have as supportive ecosystem as you wish.
Yes.
But even if you don't have that, then find your people. Find your people, and I think this is why network is so important. And maybe your network is not going to be in Algeria, but it's not because it's not in Algeria. It can be in Tunisia. Like this, you see, like the culture is still a bit similar.
Everywhere.
It can be anywhere. But I think if we want our women to be successful, is first of all acknowledge how our women are already successful. Our women played such a role, and I always say I wasn't even born, but we all learned about how women built also Algeria in the 70s, where there was like no money. who actually sold their jewelry so that the country had
Yes.
money? The women.
They did it.
Right? During the revolution, women were fighting as well. So I think we shouldn't demise that role. We should actually be proud of it. And we should make sure that these women have platforms to really show up, not be scared of it. And if they are, which I understand because we all have different backgrounds, which is fine, find the network, find the women that can help you. And even if you have just one, that's a start. We don't have to have hundreds. But yeah.
That's great. Shiraz Ben-Saman, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Yassine.
And welcome anytime on Channel 7, the channel. So, dear viewers, remember, every success story begins with a dream that becomes true with adaptation and hard work. Next time, we will discover other beautiful minds. Stay tuned.